Hello and welcome back to the show, my friends. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm like sitting in a different spot and things are just kind of like piled around me because I'm in the middle of redoing my office and I needed to record this episode. So we're moving things around. This will not be where I sit. I realize there's like a light right above me that's just shining down, and I'm gonna leave it on because I like it. I like it more with the light on. So anyway, a little bit of housekeeping because we are shifting things around. I'm opening myself up for some more projects and some different business adventures. So we're redoing the office so I can have multiple workspaces, and I'm excited for that. But today, I wanted to share really these concepts to just use for discernment, right? And really think about, okay, who are we going for to reflect with, to maybe get some outer authority wisdom from, some guidance from, and use this as a time to discern what we're taking away, like what we're taking for ourselves, and how can we go within too, because there's so many experts out there, and don't get me wrong, like I have my go-to people for all the things, and I use my discernment and my own intuition to really guide me and decide, like what am I using this information for and what am I doing with it. So I always advise people to check in with themselves with whatever I say, even if it's in regards to like human design, or if I'm connecting psychically or intuitively. I'm always going to advise to use your discernment and, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But I just kind of want to provide a layer on top of this, and like kind of like some red flags maybe, specific to human design practitioners or experts, but these concepts can be applied across the board in any really area of guidance, coaching. So just things to think about as you are discerning and looking outward for support and resources, right? Like as you maybe you're getting sessions to really help connect with yourself, or to help you heal, or to help your relationships, or to heal your relationships with money, whatever it may be. Having this extra knowledge could be helpful. So I want to get into it. This is just like things that have come up recently. I've been doing a lot more networking, friend making. And in that, there's a lot of conversation about like what I do and how I help people. And some of the things that I bring up are kind of like assumptions on like things that people assume they may get help with when they dive into human design or any type of self-awareness type of coaching or mentorship. I want to like clear the space, because as you are navigating new areas, it's really about like your relationship with that and how that's helping you discover more about yourself. And so, yeah, I want to just kind of like go through this list and share why I point this out and my experiences with this, and yeah, go from there. So, first things first, with human design, there's a lot of language about like living in alignment, living your design. Yeah, like how do you live by your design? How do you live in alignment with your design? And I will say my perspective on this is like you already are living your design, right? Because it's your energy. And there's no way for you to be here without using your energy that you have, that we know you have access to, that is in your human design chart. So, like, by default, you're already living your design. And in regards to living in alignment, my perspective on this too is like there's really no right or wrong way to live in alignment with your design. Where that language kind of gets tossed up and I think a little bit mixed up with is we have this idea, this vision of this energy. So if you get to know your human design, you kind of have this perspective of this is my potential. This is how I see myself. This is the timeline that my goal is, right? So if you're more on the physical realm, you might have these goals and you see yourself accomplishing these goals. And when you're studying human design, you see what energy really supports that and really can contribute to that. And so it's like, how do you start aligning with that in your everyday life, like in your habits and your thoughts and your beliefs and what you're doing every day, what you're doing in the big picture? That is kind of how do you get in alignment with the vision. But as far as like living your design and how to start living your design in alignment, that's really not something that a coach or a human design mentor or an expert will tell you, because that's going to be something you have to pull out from yourself. Now, the coach, mentor, expert, this is something that I do with my clients too, is they will help you get to that point. They will help you figure out, okay, what are the things in my life that are in alignment with that vision and what things aren't. But you can't come to an expert and have them draw out a plan. And actually they could, but would it be something that you want? Who knows, you know? So this, like, how to live your design is really not something that I think is like great to necessarily even market, because it puts this thought that like you haven't been living authentically, when I like to give value for every step of the way that got you there, right? Like however I showed up and now I'm introduced to human design, let's say. And like I said, this could be with any kind of like coaching or mentoring, but like there's no point in like kind of discrediting like what came before, because you need that, like that there's the value and the wisdom from that. And so yeah, I kind of want to leave it at that. Just like the advertisement of like living, like get in alignment with your design. It's like you have been living your design. Now you can like work with it. Now let's figure out how we can create, knowing this information, working with this energy, and knowing like how this energy shows up in different behaviors and different thoughts or different patterns or habits that you may have created. And it's like you have this new wisdom to then shift things intentionally and call things in intentionally and use your energy differently or more intentionally to show up in alignment with that vision that you have. So it's a little bit different than just saying like, I haven't been living in alignment with my design, because I just don't have that perspective. Okay. The next thing is like what to do. Like there are people that I know you can go to and they will like advise you what to do. I do not do that. Like if my friends know this, my close family, friends, anyone that talks to me knows like if you come to me, like I'm not going to tell you what to do. I will hold complete space for you for whatever process you need, like whether you need me to just listen, whether you need me to ask you questions so you can hear yourself, you know, figure it out. But like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I won't even usually tell you what I would do, because it like usually like it's just that's like a silly thing because it's not my situation. So the what to do, because this kind of connects to another point that I have, or like a thing that you just won't come across when this is a genuine like mentorship and like guidance that I think is really supportive and empowering to developing that self-trust and that confidence that I think we are all really striving for right now, recognizing like how much we have relied on other people's opinions or maybe other people's just beliefs, or even the beliefs that you have held and you're now questioning, or now recognizing that you're just like ready to do things differently. And having that confidence to like make those decisions on your own does take practice. It does take like having that support of saying like you can talk this out and not make like you can put yourself in like every scenario and know that like you haven't committed to a decision, and I'm here to reflect for you if you need that. But no, like the what to do it isn't really like something that is best to inquire, I would say, when it comes to like, I think there's always value in going to somebody to see if there's like other perspectives that you haven't been able to step into, right? There's a difference between like going and like looking for other perspectives and like wanting to just kind of like put yourself in other viewpoints, right? Then like going and searching for somebody to tell you what to do, right? That energy is different. And so if you're searching for more perspectives, great. If you're searching for like a solution, that's going to be a different exchange. So if somebody's eager to tell you like this is what you should do, like in my heart, that is like cool. Like thank you for that, but I'm going to figure out if that's what I need to do or not. And it might be something that you do, right? And that's where it's just kind of like, okay, this is where I need to discern. So the what to do, having it so concrete. And I'm just going to like loop this with another one. There'll be like 3 main ones, I guess, but I stay away from that because I want to be very clear. Like there's no right or wrong. I have people come to me and I can feel like the need for them to hear like, well, this decision outweighs this one. And those are like the really torn, like hard decisions, or where they feel like they don't have a decision to make because it's like either neither one is like feels great, you know, or like there's just one that like feels good for one reason, but the other one feels good for a different reason. You know what I mean? Right? It's like those decisions, like I wish I could just like pass on that clarity of like there's no right or wrong. And you can also change your mind. And so seeking that like answer of like what can I do or what should I do needs to be like cleared out of the way. And I mean, what can I do is a valid question, and you can ask yourself that even. And then more ideas, more solutions might come to you, because oftentimes we get that idea of like these are my choices, you know, and then it's hard for us to open up to see another one. So knowing that there's no right or wrong, knowing that there's multiple solutions, and it's not wrong to decide and then change our mind, like giving ourselves that permission. So kind of recognizing like when you get in those like limiting situations, even if somebody's sitting there trying to help you, if it still feels limiting, then know that there's more. Just know that there's more potential, and you don't have to stop there. You don't have to stop there. So the limiting feeling of like this is going to happen, or this is the only way, or this is the solution that's for you right now, like if that feels constrictive in a way, then you know you're just not going to come across that when somebody is really there to be an outer authority to you, to guide you in your own authority and really empower you to make your own decision. So remember that. I know that's really uncomfortable for some people. They're like, I've had this reflected to me, and where like that makes people really uneasy and actually can be triggering. And I will tell you, I grew up with that, like, where I would ask questions and they would be answered with a question, and they can be very frustrating, and it can be very, puts you on the spot. And I will say that's where the gold is at. As a kid, I recognized it. My dad's a math teacher, or he was a math teacher, and so like any question I asked, it was answered with a question. Like he can't tell me the answer in math, right? Like I had to figure it out, and that was a lot of just things in life, like let's figure this out together. I'm not just going to tell you the answer. And I didn't always appreciate it, but in reflection, I'm like, okay, I learned a lot that way. And, you know, that's the same thing with myself. It's like, I have to dig forward, like, I have to ask the layers, right? And so recognizing that that's like a need for processing, for sometimes making those bigger, like, more in-depth decisions, the more emotional decisions. It's like, it's not just on the surface that you might have this understanding of what you desire, what might feel good, what's available to you. So asking those questions, knowing like there's no right or wrong, and that can feel so overwhelming for people of like there's no right or wrong, like I need to know. um but that's where like that like subtle confidence of like, I trust that like the decision that I make is the right decision in the moment, and I'm going to know if it needs to be changed. Okay. That one's like a good, like, that confidence to like take that step and like no, like if it's a no-go, you're going to know, right? This last one that I want to talk about is interesting because this is like when I share about human design to people like who don't know, and like how I kind of like coach and help and mentor people, relationships come up, of course, like dating questions come up. And I will say, like, my perspective is I can talk to you. I mean, I can run a connection chart. Like we can talk about a specific relationship, but as far as like general dating, and this is like for human design, when people are like, I'm a generator, who should I date? And I'm like, whoever you want. Like, it's like I don't do these like generalized assumptions about who's good with who and all that. Of course, I have like tips on like how people can like work together with different energies. And depending on what centers you have defined and undefined, like, of course, I have ideas, right? But like, I don't really like the generalized, like, dating or relationship. I don't even want to say advice, but kind of like, it's kind of like an astrology with like this sign goes well with this sign. Like, I get it. It probably does. And, a lot of there's a lot of opinions about who goes well with who in all the worlds. Um, and I think there's value to some of that, like to a certain extent, right? Like, but I think getting down to the individual level of, okay, this is what energy I have available. Now, if my partner has this energy, what would that look like? If that my partner doesn't have this energy, what would that look like? And how would that feel for me? And I'm always like, you're going to attract like what you need anyway. Like if you have the intention of like calling in a divine partner, calling in like a soul partner or somebody who is really there to like help you up level in your relationships, whether you're thinking long term or not, like, you're calling in your next partner, you're intentional about it. Like that person is going to have the energy that is needed for you. I have no doubt. And so like I don't really like, that's why I don't do the general blanket statements of like generators should be with manifesting generators or anything like that. Like I don't do that because it's just like, don't limit yourself for one. But you can have your ideas and just in your own life, even in your relationships. Like I talk more about relationships as a whole. And I think that really covers even the dynamic of romantic relationships as far as like attraction comes in, because if you look in your life, you will notice patterns with like general energies that you are surrounded by. For example, I am surrounded by 5-1 profiles. I think it happened like my whole life. Definitely 5-1s and 4-6s. I just have an abundance of them. And then I would say like the people who I love being around, like, and so then you have like these like almost not preferences. That sounds so silly, but like you can just kind of tell like, oh, you have first line energy, and I love that energy. I love first line energy. Like 1-3s are some of my favorite people. First lines I love. I will just say that. I can spot a first line from a mile away. But you start to kind of recognize, okay, this season of life, I see this energy more in my life. And if you're not into human design, this could go for astrology, right? Like, oh, I notice a lot of Geminis popping up in my life right now. What does that mean about my communication? Or like, what do I need to know right now? You know, like there's all these things that can kind of lead us to like, okay, this is the energy that I'm attracting. So what is that saying about like what I'm needing in my relationships and how that's showing up? You see how that's different than like, who should I be with? Because I'm a 2-4 profile. And I do get these questions, like, what is the best, most compatible profile with my profile? And so we talk about that. Like, of course, there is like this resonance and there could be dissonance and with the different energies in your chart. But that goes back to my last thing where it's like, there's no right or wrong. Like, there's no right or wrong way for energies working together. And there will be some, I'm sure, like relationship gurus, human design specifically, that have like maybe even statistics, I don't know, of like this energy connection has been the best for romantic partners. I don't know, that like that might be out there. I'm not a first line. I have no idea if that research is out there. Maybe I'll kind of lean on to that energy and see if I can look this up. But I feel like I'm that person that truly believes like any connection can be exactly what you need at any given moment. And like just knowing the energy and what's available. So I had no idea about human design when I met Amy, of course. And then I run my chart and it's like, you know, you could like look at that and be like, oh my gosh, this, and this, and we have this the same, and you know, all this. And like there's things in my chart that if I ran our charts together, that it's just like, oh, like I get why when we have an emotional experience, like this is how we both respond. Like you can start putting these connections together, and then you can start seeing like where the energy is and how there's different opportunities to like shift that behavior and those responses. Different needs, different desires, different behaviors. Like you can see all of that when you have two people specifically. Now, when it comes to like manifesting a partner, right? And like going to somebody and asking for advice of like, who do I need to be with? Like, that's something that really needs to come from within. And I can say, like, if you want to manifest a partner that is specific to your energetic desires, like that can happen. And if that is in alignment with your highest good, like it's gonna happen. So let's say you want to manifest like a partner that's going to help you restore your energy when you're resting, right? So let's say you're a projector and you're like, I want a partner that is supportive of my need for rest. So I'm either going to probably meet somebody else who is a projector, a manifester, or a reflector who understands their need for rest, or it's going to be a manifester or manifesting generator or a generator who also understands my need for rest and is going to respect that I may need to rest separately. And so having that understanding, like that's different than being like, I need to manifest another projector. So like that's very limiting, right? Where there's this opportunity for the understanding of how the energy operates versus the limitations of like having compatible energy or having energy that operates in the same way. So I think that just like broadens the understanding of like it just takes away the like, well, this makes sense with this, where it's like we can use the energy and understanding to make anything be what you desire. So I don't offer like relationship general advice ever. I will have like ideas and like, ways that different relationships could operate and like have, different kind of structured relationships, really depending on like your type and your profile. Like it's all going to influence how a relationship operates, of course. Having that understanding though, like you may or may not have a preference. As a 2-4, it's important for me to be with somebody that understands my need to retreat, to be by myself. Doesn't mean I have to be with a second line. I mean, I'm not. I'm with a 5-1. So, but having that understanding and awareness, it's like, okay, if I'm a 2-4, my partner, they don't need to be like me, right? Like they don't need to balance me out. They don't need to do that per se, but the energetic understanding has to be there. And can they support that and hold that for you? So that's different than like, this is what can support you and hold you. Giving the opportunity for whatever energy is ready to come in to support and hold you. It's 111 right now. That's exciting. Okay, let's see. I think that's those are like the major things that I'm just like, stay away from any type of like situation that you get yourself in where it feels like this person feels like scarcity, like limiting, like constricting, like this isn't expansive. I really try to like physically, energetically open up the space when I'm talking to people, whether I'm like working or not. If I feel somebody needs space to like sort things out or to just like put things out there, like I think about the elasticity, right, of the environment. And if I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, this is the only solution she has, like that's not giving her any space to release and to figure out on her own. And also, like, as a friend, if you are sitting there and you're like, wow, this is the only solution this person, like my friend has, like this is what she has to do because of your experiences, because of your mindset, and because maybe you just think that that's the best option for them. Whether that is true or not, the best way to hold space for somebody is to really just like first stop thinking about what they should do, right? Stop giving that energy and like think about like opening your arms and just like have that space of like lay it out, like lay it all out there, girl. Like say everything that's coming up, and then you can see it all, and then you can decide what you want to pick up and claim as yours, and you can decide what you want to leave laying on the ground and walk away. And that's a lot different than somebody, whether they're an expert, mentor, coach, or friend. It's different than having that weight of like, in my energy, I feel like this is what you should do. So think about those things, how it feels in your body when you're sharing, when you're talking. And honestly, like you're probably not sharing and opening up too much to those people who are maybe subconsciously limiting the energy and the environment. And you'll know, right? Like you kind of know like those friends that you can vent to and they're really just like, I'm gonna support you no matter what you want to do, versus like, this is what you better do. And sometimes we need that. Like sometimes we need that. But for the sake of like having those empowering conversations and really allowing yourself to lead yourself, having that confidence, these are the things you want to think about, is like, am I feeling like I have a right or wrong decision to make? Am I feeling like I am stuck with like what I should do? Um, does this feel like a blanket statement, like a blanket advice? Because we know there's so many more layers and depths below the surface. And then like specific to human design, it's like how to start living according to your design or in alignment with your design, and like give yourself that power and that recognition of like you have, like, it's not like you've been going against it. Like, let's just do it more intentionally. Let's do it. Let's co-create. I'm feeling called to pull a card. I don't knock over my back. Okay. Nice. My vacuum in the background. Okay, let's see. We haven't pulled a card in so long. We're gonna pull one really quick and then we're gonna wrap up. That sounds like a plan. Okay. Yeah, this is the season. We're switching things up and having that confidence. Trust yourself. First card that came out. Oh, okay. Is miracles. Hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, miracles. It's number 31. And then we have, that's the rainbow waterfall. And then we have toadstools, which is growth. And then spirit guardian of autumn. Perfect. Letting go. This is number 35. So we have 31, 44, and 35. Those are all good numbers. This is all actually a lot of fall. Yeah, okay. So right now, there's actually a lot of like decisions and choices that we're making that are like allowing us or like encouraging us to step up, to expand and like that growth. And so there's a little bit of discomfort. And the letting go, it's like there's this feeling or like this thought of like we're so ready to let go, we're so ready to like kind of let go of what was and step into the new, and some of us it's like actually physically letting go. It's like there's two parts of this. So depending on like where you're at, like your mind might be more ready to like step into this, or your heart might be more ready. And so like honoring which one is and honoring which one isn't, and allowing that part of you to grieve, and opening up to miracles, like allowing yourself to like have a light heart about things. So the weight of like letting go or the grieving or what was, it can be heavy in this season, which is where like a lot of that like foundation, stability, and growth is coming from. So anchoring into that, the stability of that, but also honoring yourself and that miracle of like we can shed and let go. This is so Scorpio season. We can shed and let go and know like what's coming, what's going to grow from that is the miracle. It is like what we are wanting and our desires, and that's how we keep growing and expanding. That's good. So reminder, if you're on YouTube, you can see these cards, but there we have it. Okay. I like this. I feel like a lot of us have been making some decisions that are shifting things in our life, whether that's our relationships, whether that's how we're showing up. Like for me, it's been a ton of stuff around identity. If you haven't noticed in the last few episodes, of course, just getting myself in different situations has been huge. And I feel like that's a lot of the energy is like we're finding ourselves in new experiences, and it's empowering and it's like giving us life. But it's also, like it's expanding us in a way because it's recognizing like, oh, this is stuff that we can let go of because we have these new ways of showing up. We have these new things that we like to do, these new relationships or whatever it may be for you in your life. And so allow that to excite you and allow it to be fun because there's miracles in this, even the after the feelings of maybe letting go and loss. So, okay, I'm gonna leave you all with that. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to take a screenshot and you can share it on social media. Don't forget to tag me at the Intuition Playground. I'm over on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And if you really enjoyed the show, I would love for you to leave a rating or review over on Apple, iTunes. That really helps the show and just the visibility and getting it out to more listeners. So I appreciate that. And if you do that and take a screenshot and send it to info@theintuitionplayground.com, I will respond back with some intuition tips, not chips. I'm not sending chips, intuition tips, and it will be specific to your human design. So something, a little gift to you for leaving a rating and review. But all right, that is all for today, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you all next time on the Intuition Playground.